Excellencies, distinguished guests, good morning, and welcome to the high-level policy dialogue on leadership for the future, enhancing urban governance practices for sustainable, resilient, and equitable cities in Asia and the Pacific, an associated event of the 8th session of the ESCAP Committee on Environment and Development. I am Omar Sadiq from the Sustainable Urban Development section here at ESCAP, and I will be your master of ceremony for today's event. We are pleased to inform you that this session is broadcast via the UNDP in Asia and the Pacific YouTube channel. Kindly note that simultaneous interpretation is also provided for Thai to English and English to Thai. This event is organized by UNDP in partnership with ESCAP, UN Habitat, and the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. The dialogue is designed to inspire new thinking and foster political commitment among a select group of influential city leaders and aims to share their visions, strategies, and partnerships, ensuring that innovative urban governance practices are seamlessly integrated into regional development agendas. By leveraging experiences from across the region, the dialogue seeks to inspire governance practices in the Asia-Pacific and emphasize the pivotal role of leadership and adaptive urban governance models in catalyzing urban transformation and increasing public confidence in governments. Additionally, it aims to foster multi-level governance and partnerships among different spheres of government, the international community, and other stakeholders toward closing the gap in SDG implementation.
I am FAUSTINO, OLOWAN, the Vice Mayor of the city of Baguio, Philippines.
Now I wish to invite the moderator, Ms. Diana Torres, Governance Advisor of UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub, to take the floor and conduct the panel discussion with the distinguished panelists. Moderator, I now hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Omar. And good morning, everyone. I hope you're still excited to join us for the second round of discussion today. And really, if you want, there are more seats available here. If you want to come forward, that would be great. So as Omar introduced me, my name is Diana Torres. I'm the Regional Governance Advisor in UNDP, and I have the pleasure and honor to be moderating the second panel of today's policy dialogue, which is looking at collaborative leadership. As has been introduced by Omar, and this morning by the speakers in the previous panel, a truly vision for the city cannot be led only by government. It needs to be co-shared and co-shaped with different stakeholders, academia, business, civil society, and government. And we will be kind of going deeper into this level of conversation of how cities in our region are enhancing what we call collaborative leadership, really working and applying what in the UN we call the whole of society approach. How they're embracing it, leveraging, and making sure that they use the opportunity to co-create with all the stakeholders solutions for the complex challenges that the cities are facing. So today, the panel discussion will last, I don't know, we don't have much time because we're running out of time, but let's aim for 40 minutes, and hopefully we have time for a Q&A session. And I'm joined by city leaders from different 4 cities. We're going to hear from Mr. Faustino OLOWAN, who is the Vice Mayor of Baguio in the Philippines, who is sitting here. Thank you, Governor Tino, for joining us. I will move the conversation of today to the Philippines, to Baguio City with the Governor Tino. Mr. Faustino OLOWAN has served as Vice Mayor of Baguio City since 2019. Prior to his current role, he was the City Councilor for 2 terms, during which he contributed to policies related to urban planning, environmental protection, and social welfare. He is a member of the Protection Management Board of the Lower Agno Watershed and Forest Reserve, underscoring his commitment to environment conservation. So, Mr. Faustino, the question for you today is how Baguio City is leveraging what we call collaborative approaches. How are you working with civil society, academia, private sector, to address some of the urban transformation that the Baguio City is facing in terms of rapid urbanization, climate change, and inclusion? tell us a little bit about the work that Baguio City is leading in terms of drafting and shaping a circular economy approach that involves a whole of society strategy. Over to you, 4 minutes for your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. When I read your name in the agenda, I thought you are the Mrs. Universe that we know, Diana Torres. So I would like to, of course, to the honorable participants and the organizer of this forum, in behalf of the officialdom of the City of Baguio, Philippines, we thank you for inviting us here. I will introduce you first our city. Our city was, of course, founded in 1909 by the Americans who built Baguio City, and with an area of around 57 kilometers radius, supposedly for only a population of 25,000 residents. But today we have for almost 400,000 residents in the city of Baguio. Baguio City is the summer capital of the Philippines. You can visit Baguio. It is a natural aircon. It's a cold city. So, the officials, we have a Baguio template of good governance beyond politics. What does that mean? We invited all stakeholders of society. That includes the government sector, non-government sector, the senior citizens, the youth sector, the transport sector, the businessmen, the different organizations in which we conducted a summit to discuss what are the problems to be solved, what are the programs that to be continued by the government. So, in short, we gathered all the stakeholders to have a summit and come up with issues that could be resolved through a short-term program, long-term program, and a middle-term program. So what are these? Of course, we have issues about climate change, rapid development. So what are the legislations that were introduced by the government in collaboration with the private sectors? First is we approved a resolution that accreditates all organizations. When I say accreditation, this organization should be accredited so that they could partner with the government. So that is what we have done. We partnered with the youth. So in the structural government of our city, we have a youth representative in the city council, which legislates and caters for the need of the youth. We have also the 30% or the so-called indigenous people's representation in the council. That is to cater for the needs of the indigenous peoples of Baguio City. Of course, 30% comprises the indigenous people, and I'm one of those 30% as a member of the indigenous community in our city. Most of the 70% are immigrants to the city. So, having said that, we divided all sectors, businessmen, to tackle how to address like the advanced technology on IT, what will happen on the employment status of the workers of our city of Baguio? So they will be, these businessmen have to share on what to do. Of course, the informal settlers are contributors, especially so they do not have, shall we say, the lack some of the basic services rendered by the city government, in a way that they live in informal areas, like, for example, some of them live in dangerous areas, no? Where if there is a storm, they are always the first victim of these calamities. So we are able to in place all of this. And how we do it? We do it through consultative governance. We do it through participative governance. When I say participative, all people in the community contributes, and we will adapt. We will see to it that all their contributions are being carried by the government. What we are saying here is that no one should be left behind. That is the battle cry of our president now, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos. So that is what we are doing in our city to address these issues. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Governor Tino. I might come back to you if we have time. I know that we are running out of time. But now let's move to Hanoi. And this policy dialogue couldn't be, I mean, we are struggling with the gender equality, but we really for sure need to make sure we listen to the citizens and the voice of citizens. So that's why if you can give us one or two recommendations for the UN and for policymakers on how we can strengthen citizen feedback and citizen engagement in urban planning, and especially in getting cities ready for the future.
Thank you. As I said a while back, the best policy that we have adopted is that we will allow all the stakeholders in the community to participate. And we will not dictate, the leaders will not dictate on what they will do, what they will say, but we will just allow all the leaders to just manifest their insights, and for us to pick what best of initiative that they will contribute to us. Then in that way, we will craft laws, we will craft ordinances to that effect. Then we will go back again to them and say, is this what you want? So we will allow them to participate, to contribute again, to make that perfect. Why are we doing that? Because of course in the city of Baguio, we respect democracy. And if that would be the wordings or the decision of the people, they will not blame us if we implement the same. So that is the policy that we are adopting in our city. So many people are coming here, coming there in our city, in not only people, but the joint municipalities or some people of the national government are coming to the city of the city of Baguio, and of course study on what we are doing, and sometimes they will adapt the policies that we're doing in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Tino. Very interesting approach, and it will be great if we have more time to hear really how you are observing change happening with this more participatory approach, how services are being delivered, and what is the quality of life, how is improving in Baguio City, and so we can also document and capitalize this approach.
Thank you, Brianna, and thank you very much to all the panelists for a very informative discussion. I just have one question to this.
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Shakil Ahmad. I'm from UNDP Cambodia. So my question may also relate to the panelists from the last session, and this is about how the cities generate their revenue. I haven't heard much about that. where you get the money. Is the money only coming from the central government? And especially if there is any innovative instrument which any of the city governments would have used to generate their local revenue. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you, Shakil. Francisco? Informations. So, Vice Mayor Tino, maybe you can address the question for my colleague Francisco in terms of a concrete initiative where you can see demonstrable results.
Of course, in the city of Baguio, we prepare our annual budget. Every year we prepare our annual budget. Our annual budget for the year 2024 is 3 billion pesos. I don't know the equivalent, 55 pesos to $1. So almost half of our budget are coming from the national government. That is our share in the taxes from the national government. So we receive half of our budget, then half of our budget is, of course, coming from our taxes, coming from local sources, like our shares in the business taxes, etc., etc. Then how we spread those projects. 20% will go to infrastructure. Then, of course, 40% will go to PS or personal services of all employees in the city government. And of course, the rest will go to equipments, other needed like vehicles, like IT programs, etc., etc. That is how we budget our allocation in the city of Baguio. And we allot, I think, 30% for social services. For those that we cannot fund, we tap outside sources. When I say outside sources, we will tap, like, for example, the UNDP. If you could provide us funds, like, for example, to finance activities of women or gender equality programs, then we could ask from outside sources. Like, I think in the city of Baguio, there is one project funded by European Union, channeled through UN. That is waste segregation, like waste segregation to be conducted by senior citizens and women. So that is how the earn, no? Palagin, we always say in the city that or in the Philippines, that's in trust there is fund, there is money. So we allow our senior citizens, women, to work on that. I think that is not discrimination because it's a light job. So that is how we distribute our funds, taxes coming from the national government and those we earn from local taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Tino. Then in 1 minute, if it's possible, Francisco. So let's give a round of applause to our TL panelists, please. With this, we conclude panel number 2, and I think it's difficult to summarize, but I think my first takeaway is really building trust is essential. Again, as the governor of Bangkok mentioned and highlighted today, technology will not make the transformation. Finance is not enough. Really is building trust between citizens, private sector, academia, and local leaders to find the solutions and to co-create the solutions that are needed in a multidimensional way and integrated way. Thank you so much for your attention, and over to you, Omar. Thanks.
Many thanks again to all of the panelists. I think they deserve another round of applause, yes. Many thanks to all of you for the excellent contributions and sharing your knowledge and expertise.